We'll go ahead and call the special meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order here. It is August 21st, 8 o'clock. In attendance, myself is Mike Ergo, Nita Kincaid, Bob Carlson, and Christine Diaz, Administration Finance for the town. There's only one agenda item this morning, and the sole purpose of this meeting is to call for a town meeting to discuss the leasing agreement for the one-story wing at 298 Norwich Westerly Road. So the really the motion that we'd be looking for in order to do this would be to warn a town meeting with the one question: shall the town of North Stonington enter into a leasing agreement for the one-story wing of 298 Norwich Westerly Road? We'd like to set the meeting for August 31st, 2020 at 6 p.m. via Zoom, which would be accessed either on the computer or via phone, in accordance with Executive Order 7JJ per the governor's orders. So do we have a motion to move that?
So moved.
Okay.
Second from Nita. Okay. Is there further discussion on this?
I have discussion that, Mike, I want to find out, can I make a motion after this? After we vote on this, can I make a second motion in today's meeting?
If it's on this agenda item, you could.
It is.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so then I have no other discussion on the 31st.
Okay.
Is it inappropriate to have an update on where we stand with this right now?
I don't think it's inappropriate as long as there's no specifics with regards to the negotiations.
So I can tell you that we sat in a meeting on Wednesday, myself, Christine, the town attorney, and Gary Nino, and the subject matter was discussed at great length. We gave the attorney much food for thought on where we think we need to be on certain items. The attorney now is working on that. We hope to we will have that back prior to the 31st meeting. So without getting into specifics, I can just tell you we've looked at all options as far as length of time of leasing, future properties leasing, and so on. So anything you would normally see in a lease, when whether it be a lease to just a lease with an option to buy, all sorts of things were discussed, and they're all under advisement right now with the town attorney, who's working on a proposal to put forth to the potential leasers in discussion at the August 31st meeting. So,
and I assume that the decision of making it an August 31st town meeting means that everybody thinks that we would have the issues completed by then?
I think we'll at least have the town's proposal, since the Board of Selectmen voted to let the subcommittee work on the negotiations. Now, I think we'll at least have the town's proposal. We probably won't have an agreement yet, because I think that's going to be part of the discussion. And it's up to the leasers to take it back to, I think they're being represented now by an attorney also. So we'll probably bring it back to their attorney to see if they like the terms. If they don't, there'll probably be further negotiation on those terms. So I would say no. So I think that we'll be able to get as much as we can out to the public on the 31st, and then it'll be up to the negotiations to continue, but the town will vote that night to allow us to, well, the intent is to have the town that night to allow us to go further with the negotiations. So I believe that's what it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah, we're just looking for affirmation from, feedback from the town as we move, decide to move things forward here. So that is the intention. So yeah, that's, any other discussion on this?
I just have one thing. The thing that Mike, you read, it says a regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen. That needs to say a special meeting of the Board of Selectmen. So I will make that change when we post the.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So I didn't catch that when I typed up the draft, so.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll fix that before, no one has that yet anyway. That's what we'll make sure that's amended before it gets advertised. Okay, so, we're doing everything, all the steps that we would normally have to take in order to potentially, move this forward. So we'll just take a vote then. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? So motion carries. So there'll be a special town meeting on August 31st at 6 p.m. and we'll have the information out. Actually, I'll include it in the update today as well. Bob, you mentioned you wanted to try to bring something else forward that's related.
Yeah, so in the negotiations, we talked about, and I know you've written in great length about this recently, Mike, but as far as doing in-person voting referendum on this topic. So what I did was at that meeting, I addressed the attorney on it, Attorney Avina. He said he would check into it. So I'm just going to read a couple of things. So I had Christine email Rob yesterday. He said, Bob Carlson checked in with me this morning to see if there's any update on our meeting yesterday as to whether the town can have a referendum vote if the executive order JJ is extended beyond September 9th. Let me know if you heard anything back yet. Attorney Avina wrote, yes, it appears a referendum is possible, provided the town officials consult with local health and state officials to ensure that such a referendum is conducted safely. Do you folks use Legislate, Health District? We need to check with them about the safety procedures of the town. I wrote last night, Steve is on vacation, I believe, wrote to Jennifer Murngo. This is Bob Carlson, a selectman from North Stonington and a member of the Legislative Board of Directors. I'm sending you this to have you sending this to you to look for a little guidance. Our town is currently very divided, with a large number of taxpayers still very upset that they were not allowed to vote on the town budget due to the governor's executive order forbidding in-person voting. We are now much further along. Our town has done a wonderful job keeping COVID-19 numbers down. We also just had a primary August 11th using in-person voting in a well thought out and safe manner. Our town is now trying to enter into a lease agreement with possible tenants that will inhabit our old middle school. The sale of or lease of the town property typically requires a town meeting and a referendum. I am proposing an in-person referendum on September 10th. This is one day after the governor's executive order runs out, unless it is extended. Our town attorney believes that we are able to hold such referendum even if the order is extended, providing we get the okay from the health district. Please see the attached email thread. I believe that an in-person vote done in a safe manner will help restore our taxpayers' confidence that their rights have not been taken completely away. Please let me know where the health district stands on this. I can also explain the steps taken on our primary vote, ensuring town safety. Thank you very much for any input you can give me. Send me my way. Send this to our way. And then Jen wrote back to me last night that just said that she will look into it and get back to me today. After the last meeting, we had the subcommittee meeting. Christine wrote for me a call for a notice of referendum, which I'll read. Resolve the Board of Selectmen pursuant to its authority under Connecticut General Statute Section 7-7 hereby removes the question to be considered at the August 31st Board of Selectmen meeting cited in the prior resolution to a referendum be held on September 10th, 2020. The hours for voting at said referendum shall be established by vote on August 31st, 2020 town meeting. Said hours are recommended by the Board of Selectmen to be 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. and then Board of Selectmen with our names. So what I'd like to motion is that we, providing that Legislate gives us the okay, I like to motion that we have an in-person referendum on September 10th to vote to move forward on this negotiation with the school.
Well, I guess I would agree that it would be good to have a referendum if it's possible. I think might help a lot in general, the reaction of the townspeople. And with what we're doing right now, they would be having to make a pretty quick decision about things. We would be also needing to make a quick decision. I guess I was just pulling out, whoops, am I gone?
No, you're there.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. I just was, when you said that, I was looking at the dates and everything like that. If we really felt that we could and should have a referendum, which people certainly have said they're not happy, those that did not have, we didn't do it the last time, I would be in favor of doing it at least the week after that. And I think putting it in something like on a Thursday would be another thing that would have people saying we would not, doing it in a normal way. I don't know about a date like that, but it's up to us all, I guess.
Christine, can you weigh in on time restraints for that?
Yep, so when you have a town meeting and you put something to referendum vote, you have to do it in a window that is no less than 7 days after and no more than 14 days after. So it has to be in a 1 week window. So
You would have extra.
So it'd have to be between the 8th and the 15th. And so that was why with that executive order expiring on the 9th, they were looking at the 10th as the date.
Right, so you said we could go between the 8th and the 15th, so conceivably we could do something on the 14th or 15th. If Nita's concern is that Thursday is not a typical referendum day, then the Thursday or Monday and Tuesday are typical, especially Tuesdays are typical days, although we have done on Mondays also. So could it conceivably be moved to the 14th or 15th if we agree to go forward with that?
So I think it would have to be the 8th or the 14th, because I think the 15th is 15 days when I recounted it just now.
The 14th being a Monday.
Yeah.
So Nita, would that make you feel more comfortable?
Well, yes, I mean, my concern is if we move so quickly as we're trying to do, I know that we are doing that, so we will not lose the opportunity to get this lease. And hopefully by the time that we would have a little more time to make sure that we, after the town meeting, that if there were issues that we could maybe fix them. So I really think that people want to have a referendum, and at least a lot of the people do. And every time we take a step like this, it makes them more not trusting us as much as we would like, I guess.
So was that we haven't brought it to a vote yet, correct? Did you second already, Nita, and there was no second?
I second.
Also, okay, so I didn't hear that.
So am I amending your motion to the September 14th instead of September 10th?
I will amend my motion from September 10th to September 14th.
And I'll second. Do I second that for it to go through?
I think it'd be great if we could have a referendum. And I think a referendum, the only concern I would have with a referendum is the same concern that I have voiced, just to really try to speak for all people. And certainly there are people who are very upset that we haven't been able to vote, and that's completely understandable. But there's also people who will feel very uncomfortable voting. So my concern would be that for those people who would feel very uncomfortable voting, that we would be able to have some way for them to participate in the voting process. And usually that's achieved through like an absentee process, which I'm not sure that timing would allow something like that in this situation. So this is really kind of a difficult thing to navigate, and I've tried to articulate that in my communications. This isn't ideal for anyone. It's just not an easy thing. So I mean, if first of all, if it's legally possible, I have no issue with it, with doing it. And then there's the question of trying to represent all the people and have the opportunity for all the people to be represented. I will say moving voting to the school, it's a much safer atmosphere for folks. You know, we have plenty of opportunity for distancing there. I think the poll workers felt very comfortable. We had a debrief on Monday about how the last vote went for the primary, and it went very well. I don't think there's any issues with the machines. I'm just trying to think this through because I hadn't heard this yet. So there's a lot of things to consider with it. I don't think the machines I think those can be unlocked and usable by the 14th. So I don't think that's an issue because there's a period of time in which the machines can't actually be used after a certain vote. So I don't think that's an issue. So if the attorney is fine with it,
And I haven't heard back from Legislate yet, so
yeah. I don't think Legislate's personally, I don't think there'll be an issue because I think we can safely have all the distancing and all that. I guess my only concern, my only reservation is for those folks. And there are a lot of folks that they're just concerned about their health. And I mean, you know, they haven't seen their families. They're just staying home because they're worried about this. And that's a real concern for some people. So, yeah, go ahead.
But with regards to that, are those people the ones that you think will be on watching us for the town meeting, or are they just people who haven't been able to get the information quickly enough to understand what's going on? That's the thing that bothers me too. If we can't get something out to people, even if it's just posters around town and everything, that they all know that they have an opportunity to vote on this. And you know,
well, we can get the word out through, you know, press releases and stuff. I'm not worried about that. I mean, we have no way of knowing.
I know.
Nita, there's no way of knowing, you know, and that's the struggle that we try to deal with in these leadership roles, is that we try to, you know, it's impossible, as we know, to please everyone, but we try to consider everyone. And this has been a really difficult thing because, you know, of course, the folks who are feeling disenfranchised about not having a vote, they're very loud and vocal. And so, but, you know, you often don't hear from the folks who are just, you know, that are thankful that they've been able to continue our government in this way, you know, and not having to worry about things that, so I mean, I'm not opposed to this. I'm not opposed to this. I mean, I think it's a great thing. Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
So this particular vote is not a political vote per se. Do you think that a possibility could be that if we arranged for this ahead of time, someone drove up and both registrars walked out with a ballot and it was filled out, and then both registrars walked back in and put into the machine? Do you think that would be a fair way of someone could drive and not even have to get out of their car if we knew ahead of time, or we had to agree to saying, you know, we have someone here that can't get out of their car, the two registrars walk out with a ballot, they vote, and
I would speak on behalf of them and say that we would not have enough staffing to manage that. That would be, you know, we talked actually, in our debrief on Monday, we talked about even the curbside, which isn't something that's really advertised because it's actually, we don't have some like large pool of, we're very thankful for the poll workers we do have, but that could be something that just would be very difficult to keep up with. So I don't think that would be, not that it's not a good solution, Bob. I just don't think it's manageable, especially in a short period of time like this. I mean, listen, I certainly favor this if it's possible to do. And all we can do is just let people know that, you know, we're going to make this as safe a situation as we can. And that masks are required. So, you know, if that's what you guys favor, then I'm not gonna, people all too often misconstrue my words. I think you can hear the conflict of the concern that I have. And it's a real concern for just representing all people. So, if this has been vetted through the attorney and, you know, I guess pending legislate's approval of it, I don't have a problem with it. I just wonder, and again, not knowing about this, I'm just wondering about the mechanics of whether or not the call for that referendum should happen right now, or if that's something we should potentially call for at the town meeting on August 31st. After we have a little bit more information. I'm not sure. Bob, do you have a thought on that?
I think that the fact that we discuss it in this meeting, obviously that the word will get out that we, the selectmen, are thinking about going in this direction. We could probably hold the call off until August 31st, but then I could re-motion it that evening and set it up then. And maybe that'll give us a little bit more time to get through some of the logistics as far as how we're going to handle it.
Would you guys be okay if I contacted the registrars about these potential dates and made sure that they worked for them? And see if they have a thought on September 10th versus September 14th from their administrative perspective?
Doesn't bother me. What do you say, Nita? I go with you?
Yeah, that would be.
We'd lean towards the 14th if we could, just to help, as Nita said, to give us a few more days.
Yeah, I agree with the 14th if possible, because it doesn't conflict with a planning and zoning night too, which, you know, some people do attend those meetings, and then P and Z. And then the other thing is that's where our meetings happen now, is where our voting happens. So, yeah, I think the 14th would certainly be the better day if possible. So yeah, so I completely favor it if we can figure it out in a way that kind of works for everybody. And a little bit more time to kind of vet this would probably be a good idea. And then certainly could be motioned at the town meeting to go to referendum if we feel that it's an appropriate thing after it's all been vetted out. So
Thank you.
So the only thing is, Bob, I think you had a motion with a motion seconded by Nita on the.
So I will withdraw my motion and I'll re-motion on the 31st.
Okay, so I will post the legal ad with just the special town meeting and the date and the Zoom info, no notice of referendum. If you decide at that meeting to go to referendum, then I'll post a new ad, a notice of referendum in the paper for all that, just so everyone knows the process.
Seems right.
So it would go into the paper twice, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nita, can you just withdraw your second if you are so inclined?
Yeah, sure. Yes, absolutely.
All right, so that's a good discussion, and Bob, thanks for looking into all that a little bit more. I think it's really important that we are doing that. I know personally the amount of heat has been pretty hot from some folks on all this stuff, and it's been hard for not only us but also the Board of Finance as we're trying to navigate these really unprecedented times as leadership in town. So thank you for taking the extra time to do that, Bob.
Thank you.
Otherwise, anything else from the board?
I've got nothing.
Do we have a motion to?
I motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for taking the time this morning, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
Thank you.